Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Dark Water Daughter by H.M. Long. This is a fantasy book coming out on July 11th, 2023. I received this arc from NetGalley in exchange for a fair review. There are no spoilers in this review. A fun, quick-paced, and exciting story with interesting magical world building and likable characters, Dark Water Daughter is a high seas adventure. Also, the cover is really pretty. Isn't it nice? So what is it about? Mary Firth is a storm singer, a woman whose voice can still hurricanes and shatter armadas. Faced with servitude to pirate lord Sylvanus Lear, Mary offers her skills to his arch rival in exchange for protection and, more importantly, his help sending Lear to a watery grave. But her new ally has a vendetta of his own, and Mary's dreams are dark and full of gistlings, spectral creatures who inhabit the ancient forests of her homeland and the figureheads of ships. Samuel Rosser is a disgraced naval officer serving aboard the Heart, an infamous privateer commissioned to bring Lear to justice. He will stop at nothing to capture Lear, restore his good name, and reclaim the only thing that stands between himself and madness, a talisman stolen by Mary. Finally, driven to the external ice at the limits of their world, Mary and Samuel must choose their loyalties and battle forces older and more powerful than the pirates who would make them slaves. If you love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, as I did as a late teen, I saw the first one 4 times in the theater. I was obsessed with it. I was also in love with both Elizabeth Swann and Jack Sparrow. You know, that part in the second movie when she kisses him, anyway, I consider Pirates to be my, sexual awakening movie. I was 17. And it's also one of those rare movies that successfully combines historical fiction with liberties with fantasy. Dark Water Daughter is also very successful on that front. While it's clearly a fantasy world, it retains that kind of Victorian gas lamp feel of our Western history. It brings in the well-known aspects of that time period, balls, clothes, weapons, taverns, ships, of course, with its own world building, complete with fantastical creatures that inhabit ships, much like sentient AI in spaceships, and 4 types of magic users. I enjoyed the way the magic functioned in the story, though I would have preferred a little bit more realism on the ship's front. I know, right? What a nerd-ass thing to want. But I really love boats. I love boats. I love being on the water. I used to have a boat, but not anymore. Now I'm obsessed with my Sea-Doo, as I've talked about many times on this channel. I actually enjoyed reading Moby Dick, the boring parts about the ships themselves. Not the whaling. I hated the whaling. Anyway, if you're looking for a pirate book where the ships are just kind of vessels for the action, where we don't really get any actual sailing, trimming the sails and crap like that, you will love this. It is obviously not a realism-based fantasy in that regard. It's still super fun, and honestly, I'm probably the only person in the world who actually cares about that, so it's fine. The characters are also fine. I didn't love any of them, but Mary and Samuel are likable leads, and the supporting characters are interesting and varied, both the villains and the good guys. The thing is, though, and this is probably just me, but the story moves so incredibly fast that we never really see them in any downtime. As such, we don't really get any kind of introspection about them, aside from Samuel's occasional brooding. Mary is strong, brave, and tough, a great, resourceful heroine, but she never is really vulnerable to the reader. Her motivation to find her mother also fell a bit flat to me. Maybe it's because I don't have the closest relationship with my own mother, so those stories, never work for me. But it just seems like Mary's mom left so early in Mary's life that her risking herself to find her seems like kind of a flimsy motivation. As I said, though, this just might be me not ever being able to connect to those types of stories. But I also think the story moves so fast that we don't get to see what the other characters are like when they aren't running, trying to outwit one another, or in some sort of peril. The thing is, though, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It makes for a very fast-paced, fun, and exciting story. So I'm just kind of explaining why, for me, it wasn't I adored this book. I definitely think it's a great book. I think it's well written. I guess I'm just kind of I like things a bit more slower paced, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, this is not a critique of the book. This is more of a critique of my own reading preferences. I'm not a huge fan of first-person narration. This is one of those books that would have worked far better for me in third person, I think, though I don't really know how to explain why that's the case. Anyway, the story does set up for a bit of a love story, but that's not a big part of the novel at all. So if you're looking for romanticy or spice, you won't get that. But if you don't like love story subplots, you'll enjoy this. I thought the love story was, it was subtle, it was fine, I liked it. So if you like your narration, sails at full trim, dual POV, and intrigue, then you will likely love this. There's lots of 5-star reviews of this, which I definitely think it deserves because it's a really fun novel. There are lots of things to love about it, specifically the world building, but be prepared that you're entering a tsunami of words that are churning like a maelstrom. I'm quite proud of this. Because I prefer more of an introspective, kind of slower paced story, and I prefer my fantasy with a bit more politics, I didn't fall head over heels for Darkwater Daughter, but it was great for a few fun dates. So, thank you again to the publisher and NetGalley for the e-arc. I really appreciated it, and yeah.